Welcome to episode number 86 of The Great Reset. My name is Robert Brill, and I'm the CEO of Brill Media.co. We are an advertising firm that drives sales and leads with tools and capabilities that are traditionally reserved for the largest brands in the world. We are here 5 days a week talking about marketing and advertising for senior marketing executives, entrepreneurs, and everyone who's looking for an advantage to grow their company. Today we'll dive into the places where dynamic creative can happen. Banners, online video, connected television, digital out of home, and Facebook. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but it is a view of where a lot of it happens. Let's dive into banners. Banner dynamic creative makes available all of the tools that we discussed in the previous videos that we laid out. The ads have the most flexibility for dynamic creative are the large ones or the rectangular ones, 300 by 250, 970 by 250, and 300 by 600. That doesn't mean that all the other standard IAB ad sizes aren't available, like 160 by 600 and 728 by 90. We certainly run dynamic creative for those ad sizes, but you have the most creative freedom in those largest ad sizes, primarily because you have the most real estate. So any of the things that we talked about in the last few videos about how to set up the logic or the benefits of dynamic creative, you can do 100% of that in banner ad sizes. Number two, we'll dive into Facebook ads. So inside Facebook Business Manager, advertisers have the ability to turn on dynamic creative. It's a button that appears on the campaign setup screen that you can turn on. And when you go into that screen, you'll have dynamic creative options available for you as you go into the ad setup screen. In the dynamic creative ad setup, you can turn on up to 10 images, 5 primary texts, 5 headlines, 5 descriptions, and 5 calls to action, creating a total of 6,250 ad variations if you do all of that and max it out. So in this case, if you're running an ad to get people to download a guide or a white paper as a lead magnet, you might be interested in finding out which call to action performs the best. Maybe you have tried download, learn more, and sign up. And after your ads start delivering, you can review the breakout by calls to action and see which one is a top performing call to action. Similarly, with the image, you can identify which image or which headline or which type of text does better, and then optimize into the type of text that has similar attributes of that original text. Now, the thing here that you should note that this is a variation. What you're doing here is you're testing a lot of different creative executions, combining the assets that you've delivered and Facebook's algorithm. You cannot order the ad so that a person in frequency 1, the first ad impression they see, gets one image or one ad, and frequency 2, they get a different ad. This is not what you're doing. You're just throwing a lot of different creative images there. They should all work together, whether it's images or copy or headlines or calls to action, and Facebook tests which one works the best. So in a way, dynamic creative on Facebook is a little bit limited, but it works overall really well to get you where you're going. So let's jump into online video. With video, I see dynamic creative used in a lot of ways that are similar to banners. So for example, ads reference the location of retailers in relation to where the consumer is seeing the ad. Different creative messages are used to find the top performing videos. Something that is unique to video is the ability to end the video ad with an ending that is based on the user's data. So let's say your target is soccer moms. Then the final shot of whatever video that you've created will dynamically insert a shot of the soccer mom enjoying the product. Whereas if your target is moms with toddlers, or that's one variation, instead of showing a soccer mom, you might show a mom with a toddler or a mom who does baking. So the core idea here is certainly that advertisers have the ability to do this. They also need to map out ahead of time all the different audiences that they might be running ads to, and shoot all the different endings. So it's a lot more work. It's a lot more of a production element, but for the larger brands, it is available to really customize the ending of a video ad so it resonates better with the audience. But it is data-driven and very effective in communicating with your prospective customers. Let's jump into connected television. There are ads running right now on Toyota that I'm seeing where the ad is dynamic on connected TV. This is interesting to me because it takes the power of dynamic creative from the small screen, the online video screen, and projects it into the largest screen in the house, the television. And as you know, televisions are getting bigger. One way this is being deployed is for the Toyota car brand. Actors, and what happens in the ad, actors walk out into the shot, into a big white space. They point to some numbers on the screen about price and annual percentage rate. And you also see a reference to the car model. The actors are talking about how great the deal is. They point, wow, that's a fantastic deal. They don't actually mention 0% APR or 0 down. At the end of the ad, they reference the car's make and model on a voiceover. You don't actually see the actors talking to the screen because the actors are pointed away from you. You see the back of their head. And in this ad, the APR can be changed. The car's make and model can be changed. And quite literally, you can have the actors saying anything you want because you're not actually seeing them talk. You see the back of their heads as they walk out onto the screen. The actors in the commercial can say the same. You can literally swap this out for any car brand. You can swap out any APR. You can change it when the rates go up to 1 or 2%. You can say instead of 0 down, you can say $100 down or $1,000 down, whatever the case is, and you can frantically or practically change it to anything you want that really makes sense for the moment. Like this ad could literally be run for the next 5 years with different types of information. So that I find that really interesting. Now let's jump in to digital out of home. Out of home is a one-to-many medium. So when we talk about dynamic creative in this context, what we're actually talking about is using a variety of data sets to identify the majority of the people who are in front of any given screen at a current moment. So for example, device identifiers are used. Your mobile device is unique. It has characteristics about you. It knows where you've been. It knows kind of like who you are, your general age, your gender, like the types of places you go. Like if you go to Bank of America, it knows that you're a Bank of America customer. It knows what you're surfing for on the web. It knows the apps that are on the web, on your app, it knows the app that are on your mobile device. And you really have an opportunity to capture a lot of data about who is in front of your screen based on what your mobile device says. In prior videos, we talked about how this is all cultivated, so check those videos out. You know, let's say there are 20 people in front of a digital out-of-home screen, whether it's on the side of the road, as you're driving by, maybe you're walking by it on a screen in New York. You're somewhere where there's 20 people in the general vicinity who can actually see the ad in real time. So a real-time analysis of the video of the people in front of that screen and their mobile devices can be run. With that analysis, you can identify, for example, let's say there are 15 men in front of the screen in a current moment. Let's say every minute. Let's say that there's an identifier that gets pulled out every minute. And with this analysis, you see there are 15 men, and of the 15 men, most of them are interested in sports imagery. So they're sports fans. They might have an app that it indicates that they're interested in sports. So what you can do there is, for that ad slot rotation, you're not just going to run the generic image for the brand. You're actually going to show a man with the ad, and you're going to show some sports signifier, maybe a baseball or a football or a bat or a glove, or just your copy is more about sports. On the other hand, if 15 of the users in front of that ad are women, then maybe the imagery is swapped for something that females will be interested in. And I'm making this up. I'm not a good creative person. Let's say a flower just to indicate a woman. So when men are mostly present in front of the screen, then the ad will show a male model. When women are mostly present in front of the screen, the ad will show a female model. And this goes again to cutting through all the clutter of noise that's in messaging in 2020 and really being able to like speak to the person or the groups of people who are in front of an ad right now. So as you can see, dynamic creative is a great way to customize the user experience between the brand and the consumer. This technology allows advertisers to break through the mess of images and copy points and messages that consumers get daily. and really speak to the customer with the messages and interests that they are likely to have. In the next video, we'll talk about the companies that do dynamic creative in 2020. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of The Great Reset.